The dual mirror. We are the mirror and the face in the mirror. We are the sweet cold water and the jar that pours. Sufi mystic and poet, Rumi. There is nothing new about the idea that our world is a reflection of our thoughts. It is as if everyone understands the idea implicitly, but at the same time, it remains vague and ambiguous, and so there's not much practical benefit from such knowledge. The universe is you in verse. Life is not happening to you, life is happening for you because life is happening from you. The manifestations of reality take two forms. The physical, that which can be touched, and the metaphysical, that which lies beyond the realms of perception. Both types of manifestations exist simultaneously, each form penetrating and complementing the other. Dualism is an integral part of our world, and many things are comprised of opposites. When you stand in front of a mirror, you represent a real, living, physical object. Your reflection, on the other hand, has no material substance. It is metaphysical, imaginary, and yet just as real as the object reflected. The whole world can be seen as a gigantic dual mirror. On one side of the mirror lies the physical universe, and on the other side of the mirror lies the metaphysical alternatives space. In the dual mirror, unlike in an ordinary mirror, the material world serves as a reflection of the intention and thoughts of God, as well as all the living beings that are an embodiment of Him. The alternatives space is like a matrix or template which is used for the cut, the stitching, and the show for the movement of all matter. The alt space contains information relating to what can happen in the material world and how. The number of possible realities it contains is infinite. Each alternative represents a sector of the field that is made up of scripts and sceneries, i.e., a trajectory for the movement of matter. In other words, the sector determines what will happen in each specific case and what it will look like. The alternatives space is like a matrix or template which is used for the cut, the stitching, and the fashion show for the movement of all matter. The alt space contains information relating to what can happen in the material world and how. The number of possible realities it contains is infinite. Each alternative represents a sector of the field that is made up of scripts and scenery, i.e., a trajectory for the movement of matter. In other words, the sector determines what will happen in each specific case and what it will look like. The mirror, therefore, separates the world into two halves, the actual and the imaginary. Everything that has acquired material form lies in the real half and develops in accordance with the laws of natural science. Science, as well as the conventional worldview, is only applicable to what happens in reality. Reality is usually understood to mean everything that is subject to observation or direct physical impact. If you ignore the metaphysical side of reality and focus only on the material world, all activity, including human action, is limited to inner intention. Inner intention achieves goals through direct effort, i.e., taking actual steps, pushing forward, and working hard. Material reality responds instantly to direct action, giving the illusion that this is the only way to achieve results. However, in the material world, your options are limited. You can only rely on what's available. Resources are scarce, finances often lacking, and opportunities are restricted. The material world is steeped in competition. Many people chase the same goals, and there isn't enough to go around, at least within the limits of inner intention. So, where do we get the conditions and circumstances that are essential to achieving our goals? Well, they come from the alt space. On the other side of the mirror, there is abundance and no competition. The resources aren't physical, but you can choose anything as if from a catalog and place your order. Sooner or later, the order will be fulfilled and it won't cost you anything. All you need to do is meet a few simple conditions, but that is all. This probably sounds like a fairy tale. Well, it is far from it, and it's more than realistic. Thought energy never disappears without a trace. It materializes sectors of the alt space that match its quality. Life seems to be driven by the interaction of physical objects, but subtle processes and non-physical realities play an equal crucial role in manifesting alternatives from virtual dimensions. While we rarely notice these subtle cause and effect processes, they make up the greater half of reality. The materialization of sectors in the alt space usually happens without deliberate control. This is because people rarely use thought energy in a focused way, and even less so in less developed beings. As explained earlier in Transurfing, mental images mostly affect reality by bringing our worst expectations to life. In real life, people rush through empty shelves, reaching for items already marked sold. What's left is lower quality and overpriced. Instead of calmly browsing a catalog and placing an order, they scramble in random searches, stand in long lines, and fighting through crowds, arguing with staff and other buyers. This chaotic approach rarely gets them what they want and often creates even more problems. The grim reality often starts in a person's mind and gradually materializes into their physical world. Every living being shapes their layer of reality through thoughts on one hand and actions on the other. These layers stack on top of one another, with each being contributing to the collective reality. A layer consists of specific conditions and circumstances that shape an individual's way of life. Environments can range from supportive to scarce, comfortable to harsh, and friendly to hostile. While the environment someone is born into matters, their future life largely depends on their attitude toward themselves and the world. A person's mental outlook plays a key role in shaping their lifestyle. The sector of the alt space that materializes will match the nature and focus of their thoughts. So, two factors take part in the creation of individual layer of reality: inner intention on one side of the mirror and outer intention on the other. A person affects objects with the material world via direct action and with their thoughts that they embody in physical reality of things that are not yet present. If someone believes all the best things are already gone, the shelves will remain empty for them. If they expect long waits and high costs, that's what they'll face. Pessimistic, doubtful expectations quickly become reality. If they anticipate hostility, they encounter it. But if they let themselves believe that the world has saved the best for them, that too will be realized. Life is a game in which the world is constantly setting its people the same riddle. Go on, guess what I'm like. Everyone replies in accordance with their own perception of the world. You are aggressive, or you are cozy, or cheerful, sorrowful, friendly, hostile, happy, ill-fated. The interesting thing is that everyone wins the game. The world agrees and stands before each participant in the image they ordered. If a lucky optimist changes their attitude after facing life's realities, their world will adjust, pushing them to the back of the queue. This is how the individual creates the layer of their world with their thoughts. The process can be explained using just a few simple principles. The first mirror principle is this: the world is like a mirror that reflects your relationship to it. The world literally reflects your thoughts about it. So, why are our worst expectations often realized while our hopes and dreams seem elusive? The answer lies in the second mirror principle. The reflection is formed in the unity of heart and mind. As long as the mind does not contradict the wishes of the heart and vice versa, an unfathomable power emerges. Outer intention, which materializes the sector of the alt space that correspond to the image of one's thoughts. In the unity of heart and mind, this image acquires clear contours and as a result is immediately embodied in physical reality. However, what usually happens in life is that the soul strives for something, but the mind is filled with doubt and will not allow the soul to follow the urge, or the other way around. The intellect provides convincing arguments for something, but the heart remains indifferent. When unity is broken, the image becomes blurred. It is as if the image splits because the heart desires one thing and the intellect insists on another. There are only two things that bring the heart and mind together unconditionally: aversion, the desire to avoid something, and fear. For when a person hates, they do so with all their heart, and when they feel fear, it fills their whole being. In the unity of aversion, a clear image is generated depicting the thing you want to avoid. As two manifestations of reality, material and metaphysical, the heart and mind come together at the same point, and the thought form is embodied in physical reality. As a result, you get whatever you cannot stand. Unlike fear, desires are not as easily fulfilled because in the case of our desires, unity is rarely achieved. The heart resists the mind because, having succumbed to the influence of pendulums, it strives towards other people's goals. The mind, in turn, either fails to have any awareness of its innermost desires, or it does not believe in the possibility of their fulfillment. Some people believe that to achieve your goal, you have to clearly formulate your order and then release the thought form into the universe and then do nothing to avoid hindering its realization. If only it were that simple. This technique only works on the condition that the second mirror principle has been fulfilled. However, unity of heart and mind is only achieved in rare cases because it is almost impossible to be fully rid of treacherous doubts. So, what should you do? Well, this leads us to the third mirror principle. There is a delay in the reaction of the dual mirror. If you cannot fulfill the second mirror principle, unity of heart and mind, the fortress must be taken by lengthy siege. Try to imagine this rather unusual scenario. You stand before a mirror, but at first it shows only emptiness. Slowly, a reflection begins to form like a photo developing. You smile, but the reflection still looks serious. You raise your arms, but the mirror doesn't change immediately. If you drop your arms too soon, nothing happens. To see the reflection with raised arms, you must hold them up long enough for the image to catch up. The dual mirror works in exactly the same way, except that the time delay is much longer, and so the changes taking place in the mirror are almost unnoticeable. Material realization is like tar. Nonetheless, a thought form, or slide as it's referred to in transurfing, can be materialized. All it requires is one basic condition. You have to run the slide in your mind systematically for a significant period of time. The secret is simple. No magic, just consistent, everyday effort. If you do not work, you cannot expect the miracle. It works, but most people lack the patience to see it through. They get excited about an idea, then lose interest and set it aside. To materialize a thought form, you must actively work with the slide. Without effort, you can't expect results. The amount of time needed to realize the slide depends on the complexity of the goal you set. When the mind doubts the goal is achievable, the image remains unclear. But over time, a reflection will start to form. You'll notice outer intention opening doors and creating opportunities to move forward toward your goal. This will convince the mind that the method works and the goal is possible. Gradually, the heart and mind will align, focusing your thought energy into a clear and sharp image. As a result, a reflection will be formed, creating what is normally considered a miracle. The dream that seemed impossible is transformed into reality. Miracles are not contrary to nature, but only contrary to what we know about nature. St. Augustine.